If you trusted yourself, you wouldn't need to overthink everything. Welcome to day 71, everyone. I'm Dr. Nicole, and today we're talking about self trust versus overthinking. This is one of the most common struggles I see in high achieving, ambitious women. If you find yourself analyzing every decision, replaying conversations, second guessing your choices, or seeking constant external validation, this video is going to help you understand what's really happening and how to come back to the one voice that matters most, your own. Let's start with the core truth. Overthinking is a symptom of self-trust deficit. That means when you trust yourself, you make decisions and move forward. You accept that you might make mistakes and can handle them. You don't need everyone's opinion before acting. You trust that your judgment is sound. When you don't trust yourself, on the other hand, you analyze endlessly. You're trying to find the right answer. You seek reassurance from others constantly. You second guess decisions you've already made, and you stay stuck in your head instead of moving forward. Say it. Self Self-trust breaks down due to past decisions that didn't work out, being criticized or dismissed when you expressed your opinion, growing up in environments where your instincts were overridden, and trauma that taught you that your perceptions weren't reliable. As a result, you learn to distrust your own knowing, and therefore you outsource your decision making to external sources like other people's opinions, endless research, or the false certainty of overthinking. But here's the truth I want you to know. Overthinking never actually creates certainty. It just creates the illusion of control while keeping you stuck. Here's the psychology behind overthinking. Anxiety Anxiety is trying to predict safety. Your anxious mind believes if I think about this long enough, I can predict every possible outcome and protect myself from anything bad happening. But this is actually a lie that your nervous system tells you when it doesn't feel safe. Overthinking is anxiety's strategy. You replay the conversation to figure out what went wrong. You analyze every possible outcome to avoid being surprised. You seek reassurance to temporarily quiet the anxiety. Research in you research endlessly to feel more prepared. The problem is anxiety is never satisfied. It's endless. You can't think your way to certainty because certainty doesn't exist. Every time you overthink, you temporarily reduce anxiety through the illusion of control, but you reinforce something more dangerous, which is the belief that you can't trust yourself. And this creates more anxiety, which creates more overthinking. It's a cycle. And breaking the cycle requires addressing the root cause, which is the lack of nervous system safety and self trust, not the symptom of overthinking. Here's one of the most important distinctions that you'll ever learn. Intuition is quiet, overthinking is loud. Intuition feels like a quiet knowing, a gentle pull in a direction, a sense of yes or no in your body, clarity that comes without a lot of effort. The first answer before your mind starts analyzing. Overthinking feels like loud, circular thoughts, constant what ifs, competing voices and opinions, exhausting mental loops. The more you think, the less, and therefore, the more you think, the less clear you feel. The key difference is intuition comes from your body and your deeper knowing. Overthinking comes from your anxious mind trying to control outcomes. Feminine energy is deeply intuitive. When you're regulated and present, you can access your intuition easily. But when you're anxious and overthinking, the noise drowns out the quiet wisdom. So you need to practice distinguishing them. Notice your first response before your mind starts analyzing. Pay attention to physical sensations like gut feelings, chest tightness, ease. Notice when thinking makes you more confused, not less. And trust the quiet knowing over the loud analyzing. Hi. High achieving women are particularly prone to overthinking because they've been rewarded for their analytical minds. You've been praised for thinking things through carefully, considering all angles, being thorough and prepared, not making impulsive decisions. So you apply this analytical approach to everything, including decisions that would be better made from intuition. The problem is not everything requires analysis. Some things require trust. High achieving women also override themselves because they've been told that their feelings aren't valid. They've learned to prioritize logic over intuition. They fear being seen as impulsive or emotional. They're They've been in environments where their instincts were dismissed. As a result, you have an incredibly powerful analytical mind and you've disconnected from your intuitive wisdom. You're operating at half capacity, so to speak. So let's talk about what overthinking and self distrust actually cost you. Time, in terms of the hours, days, and sometimes weeks spent in mental loops instead of moving forward. Energy. Overthinking is exhausting. It depletes your mental and emotional resources. Opportunities. While you're overthinking, opportunities pass. Decisions that need to be made yesterday are still unmade. Relationships. Constant second guessing and seeking reassurance puts pressure on relationships and signals insecurity. Joy. You can't be present and enjoy your life when you're constantly in your head. Self respect. Every time you override your own knowing, you send yourself the message that your judgment cannot be trusted. The compound effect is the more you overthink, the less you trust yourself. The less you trust yourself, the more you overthink. So let's talk about some practical tools. One is to pause before reacting when you feel the urge to overthink. Just pause. Take 3 deep breaths. This interrupts the anxiety cycle and creates space for your intuition to emerge. Ask yourself, am I thinking or am I anxious? If you're anxious, try to regulate first. Then decide. Ask, what do I already know? Before seeking external opinions or doing more research, ask yourself, what do I already know about this? You usually actually already do know. The overthinking is often just resistance to acting on what you know. Trust your first answer. Before your mind starts analyzing, what did you actually know? That's usually your intuition speaking. Act without over processing. Practice making small decisions quickly and without extensive analysis. Start small. Choose a restaurant without researching every option. Reply to a text without drafting it 5 times. Make a minor purchase without comparing every alternative. Build your self trust muscle. You do this through small decisions so it's available when it's time for the big ones. The 10-minute rule gives yourself 10 minutes to think about a decision. When the timer goes off, make the decision with the information that you already have. This teaches your brain that you don't need endless time to make good decisions. A body check in before making decisions. This is where you check in with your body and you ask yourself, does this feel expansive or contracting? Light or heavy? Open or closed? Your body often knows before your mind catches up. When you develop self trust, decision making becomes easier because you trust your judgment. Overthinking decreases because you don't need to analyze endlessly in order to feel safe. Your intuition strengthens because you're listening to it and you're acting on it. Your confidence grows because you're proving to yourself that your judgment is absolutely sound. Your relationships improve because you're not constantly seeking reassurance. Your feminine energy flows because you're present instead of stuck in your head. Most importantly, you discover that you already have the wisdom you've been seeking outside yourself. Self trust creates peace. When you trust yourself, you don't need to overthink. You don't need everyone's opinion. You don't need to analyze every possible outcome. You just need to listen to the quiet knowing that's been there all along. Your intuition, your inner wisdom, your feminine intelligence. Hit subscribe for day 72, where we're talking about the hidden costs of being the strong one. Tell me in the comments, what's one decision you've been overthinking that you're ready to trust yourself on. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm Dr. Nicole.